The Indy Racing League continues its trek across Middle America with the first ever visit to Gateway near St. Louis. Stand by for more high-speed wheel-to-wheel action in the Gateway Indy 250, round 11 of the Northern Lights Series. Hello and welcome to our continuing coverage of the IRL in what's turning into a fantastic tussle for the title between reigning champion Buddy Lazier and young hotshot Sam Hornish Jr. To help guide us through today's race, I'm joined by two of our regular Sky Sports experts, racing driver Johnny Kane and journalist Russell Bolgin. And that's about as much as you're going to see of them because they're about ready to race in St. Louis. So let's cross immediately to our American commentary team of Bob Jenkins, Larry Rice and Jason Priestley.
We're on the 1.25-mile Gateway International Raceway. We will have 200 laps of competition. And we will be watching, among other things, of course, the battle for the championship. And there are the two combatants in the front row. We have three drivers making their IRL debut here today. And as I said, Jacques Lazier replaces Greg Ray for Team Menard. It's his first race with that team. Here's the green flag, and we are underway. And Buddy Lazier has a terrible start as he is going to fall back to about 5th or 6th position. Now, they haven't been running 2 and 3 wide through the corners, but here on the green flag, they're 2 abreast. As we on board with Eddie Cheever moving down the backstretch. That is Buzz Calkins up ahead and now to the right of Cheever as he tries to gain positions here on the first lap.
Oh, you can see Jacques Lazier. You got a big wiggle down there in 3 and 4. These three guys are three of the guys that are going to be charging through from back of the pack very early.
It's the first time that Sam Hornish has led the opening lap since the season opener in Phoenix. He has now led 9 of the 11 races so far. Scott Sharp has taken second spot away. Salazar, Giafoni, and Boat are all ahead of Buddy Lazier. Mark Dismore moved from 19th to 14th in the first lap.
You know, I don't know what happened to Buddy on the start there. He might have been in the wrong gear or something, and Hornish just got away from him. Wow, look at Jacques.
That was close. They almost touched wheels as Jacques Lazier drove that thing down in there. You can see Cheever got out of the throttle because he could see what was going to happen, and it almost did happen. They almost touched the wheels.
All weekend long, Jacques been talking about he's just going to take it easy this race and get used to his new team. Obviously, that's not going to be the case.
Guys, you mentioned the Buddy Lazier start, and Jason, you're exactly right. Lazier was in the wrong gear at the start, and that's why he went to the back, went backwards at the beginning.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on him. Ayrton Dare has passed him, so it is now Buddy Lazier running back in 8th position as we go to our other pit reporter, Jack Arute.
And Bob, Buddy Lazier may be encountering major problems. The radio chatter very animated between Lazier and his crew, Ron Hemmelgarn's crew. First, they thought they might have a cylinder going away. Now, all of a sudden, they've got fuel pressure alarms, Larry Rice. That's not the way you want to start a race when you're chasing for the points title.
Well, it certainly isn't. He has lost more spots and keeps going backwards. His straightaway speeds are just terrible, so he may have some sort of fuel pressure problem here early in the race.
Well, and guys, right before the race, between the practice session and the actual race itself, the team did a complete change of its pump package because the car was overheating in the morning practice. So this is a lot of guesswork going on for the Hemmelgarn team right now, and they're all huddled around the telemetry, keeping an eye on it, with very concerned looks on their faces.
Just 25 points separating Hornish and Lazier as we entered this event, but Lazier has some major problems, and we've been saying all along that it could come down to just one problem or one mistake for either Hornish or Lazier to determine the championship, and this could be the moment.
Boy, what a tough break for him as he's fallen back even further, back to 12th spot now. So they told him to settle down and just start running, and he said there's no way, so he can't settle down.
This is Salazar and Giafoni. Eliseo Salazar is running 3rd, and Felipe Giafoni, who has for the most part wrapped up Rookie of the Year title, is running in the 4th position. These guys are about 4.5 seconds behind the leader of the race, Sam Hornish Jr., who has already about a 1.5 second lead. There he is, and there's his closest pursuer, Scott Sharp, about a 1.5 seconds behind. Here comes 3rd and 4th, Salazar and Giafoni, and then right behind them is Billy Boat, who's running in the 5th spot.
Billy Boat has been a little bit in a conundrum all weekend with his team. They came here and they tested, and they thought they had the right package, but with all the changes challenges with the weather conditions here at the racetrack. When we talked to Billy and his dad before the start of this race, he said they have just been searching all weekend. It looks as if maybe they have searched and found the right thing.
Well, Giaffone has a problem. He is dropping down low on the racetrack here on the front stretch. So Giaffone is passed by Buell and several others. And by the way, Robbie has moved up from a 14th starting position to now 7th.
What won't it do? I don't know. It's coming in. There's something broke.
Something?
What's the word? Or what? Might be so far or something. I don't know. My car got loose twice really bad, and it won't drive straight.
Wow, he might have broken a half shaft. If the car won't drive straight, that's pretty common, isn't it, Larry?
Left rear tire flat.
There could be any number of combination of things that have gone wrong, but definitely something broke. He went real high down there in 3 and 4, and as soon as he did, he got way out of the throttle. He was lucky he didn't get that thing in the fence.
But Larry, according to telemetry, they think that it might be a left rear tire. You heard the radio transmission. These tires have readouts so you can read the pressure. We'll have to wait and see when they finish the service on Giaffone. The Hollywood car comes in under its own power. We are checking the tires as they come off to see if indeed there is a flat. Thus far, the rear tires that have come off are fully pressurized, so obviously it is the problem. It looks in the right half shaft, Vince.
Well, Jack, and the troubles continue for Buddy Lazier, and it's starting to get worse. The team believes now that the motor has lost an injector and that Lazier is running on 7 cylinders. Now, if it was late in the race, Buddy might be able to hold off some in the pack, but if you're going to have to run the entire race on 7 cylinders, that's not going to do well for the result at the end of the day. Not the way Buddy Lazier wanted to enter this race with the championship on the line.
And Vince, what they're going to do with Felipe Giaffone is take him back to the garage to try and solve the half shaft problem. Remember, you can make major repairs back in the garage area, not on pit road. Points are very important. They're leading the Rookie of the Year title.
Well, Buddy Lazier has now dropped back to 12th position, and he is holding there, but certainly a tough break for the driver battling for the championship. In fact, has won the last 4 out of 5 races. Sam Hornish Jr. continues to lead over Sharp and Salazar. More in a moment from Gateway International Raceway.
So Sam Hornish then getting the perfect start to his race today at St. Louis, but the big problem, Buddy Lazier possibly only on 7 cylinders. We wait for any developments on that particular situation. Felipe Giaffone, the leading rookie, 9 top 10 finishes this year in this season's IRL. He finds himself down in pit lane with a major problem. The last we heard from him, his crew told him to shut it off. So that car looks as if that's finished its day in just the first couple of laps. With me here in the studio, Johnny Kane and Russell Bolgin as ever. A disaster for Buddy Lazier, Russell.
And a disaster for the championship too, because these guys were going head to head, Hornish and Lazier, and that has kind of postponed the championship for another race, which I suppose is good for us. But he also made a very slow start as well, so I think he was in trouble right at the beginning of the race and probably did a good job just to recover as well as he did.
Johnny, you've raced this track. 7 cylinders is not what you need, really, is it?
Definitely not. You know, the corners, it's important to get off the corners well. It's long straights at this circuit, so if you're down on horsepower, it's going to be a real struggle today.
Sam Hornish, his first pole of this season, you've got to say that he needed it. He was under severe pressure, just 25 points in front of the charging Buddy Lazier. Buddy Lazier had a really Mickey Mouse start to the season, if he doesn't mind me saying that, I'm sure, but has picked up with record-breaking 4 wins so far this year, more than anybody else has ever done, I think, in an IRL season. But this has all gone completely wrong for him, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's obviously very disappointed. As you say, he started off the season fairly slowly, but he's led over 400 laps in the last 5 races, so you know, he's very strong at the moment, and you know, today's a real disaster for him.
You've been doing your homework, haven't you?
Someone has to.
Russell, we've the IRL this year, I mean, we've been talking about it getting stronger and stronger, but really it's been packing them out as far as the ovals are concerned. It seems to be much more popular now than champ cars in the oval situation.
In some of the oval races, yes, it is. I think what you've got is a championship that's growing, and it's growing faster than anybody could anticipate. And also, it's got some good stories there. I mean, it's easy to overlook that Hornish is only 21. You know, he's a young guy, he's up and coming, he's against some older guys. I mean, I think the statistic we've used before is that if you add the ages together of Hornish and Sarah Fisher, who are the youngest people in the race, they're less than the age of Eliseo Salazar, who's the oldest driver in the race. So you've got all these little stories happening all the way through the grid. But the racing is just getting better and better.
Well, the story at the moment is Sam Hornish leads the race in St Louis at the Gateway Raceway, and he really is on a mission. Giafone, well, you can see him, he's -7 laps down there. So it's Hornish from Sharp, from Eliseo Salazar in 3rd place at the moment, and we're looking down at the order to see where Buddy Lazier has slipped to. We're on board with Buddy Lazier, and can we hear 8 cylinders or can we hear 7? I don't think I'm actually skilled enough to be able to tell the difference, especially seeing as I'm only used to a maximum of 4 in 2 wheels. Lazier then it is, won 4 of the last 5 IRL races. That's a record, but this doesn't look like one he's going to win at the moment. Let's see now if we can cross back to the track and our circuit commentators.
They didn't have much to do with this engine problem out in the Oldsmobile Aurora, but it is good news for the current point leader by 25 points.
Well, Sam Hornish has a 3.5 second advantage on Scott Sharp here in the 20th lap of the race. It's not that Sam was put up on the pole position because he didn't earn it, because he has been the fastest in practice virtually all weekend. He was the fastest in the final practice and was 2nd or 3rd in many of the other practices that we held. And he was also fastest in the testing that they had here. He had a lap at 169.152, a lap that we had not seen, that fastest speed we had not seen in the practices here.
Yes, but this racetrack is a lot like Phoenix, and remember how dominant he was at Phoenix early in the year, the very first race, as a matter of fact. This racetrack is very much like it, only it's bigger.
Watching Billy Vogt. He's in 4th position. There is Salazar and Vogt. Salazar 3rd, then Vogt. Here comes Alonser Jr. and Ayrton Dare as they run in the 5th and 6th positions.
Yeah, this is one of Junior's better races, but it's also one of his better starts. That makes such a big difference if you don't have to battle your way from the back. Can just ride along up there in the position, and he's done a good job so far, and he's running pretty good speeds.
ABC is giving you the chance to win a ride in an Indy car and a trip to next year's Indianapolis 500. We'll be revealing the Indy All Access Sweepstakes Driver of the Day later in today's race, so stay tuned.
You can see there's Robbie Buell. He's gaining on this pack. That's Ayrton Dare right in front of him. He and Jacques Lazier both running faster speeds and gaining on those guys right now.
And Buddy Lazier has gone a lap down in 17th position. There's Sarah Fisher. She's being lapped by Salazar. And Vogt right behind.
Oh, she got very high. The front end pushed out on her. She just about took that thing up the fence. She got on the brakes pretty hard and stopped it, or she'd have been in big trouble.
She's running in 20th position, and this week has the use of a Menard engine and had high hopes the thing would go well, but Sarah is not off to a good start here as we jump on board with Jacques Lazier, the new driver for Team Menard. Greg Ray was released from duties last week, and as far as his future is concerned, he hopes to have a ride lined up for Texas, the last race of the year. As to whether it will be a rental or a leased car or one of his own, we don't know right now, but we'll look for Greg to be back at Texas.
And you can see how important it is getting off of 2. Jacques Lazier had to lift just a little bit down there coming off of turn 2, and he lost several car lengths going down the back straightaway. Now then we're in some heavy traffic, and Buell's going to try Dare.
And they're passing by Didier Andre, and Dare gets hung up behind Didier Andre.
Car high. Clear.
And Jacques again, he got caught on the outside behind the lap car, had to lift, and he's going to lose it. Oh, look at Dismore. Dare stopped in front of him. Jacques Lazier, meanwhile, goes by.
Lazier goes up on the high side of Didier Andre and passes him in a bold move up in the 3rd and 4th turns. And now Ayrton Dare says, well, if he did it up high, so can I. That's Jeff Ward going by Didier Andre. Right behind him is Mark Dismore. That's 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th that are getting by Didier.
Well, because of the limited practice time we had here this weekend because of the rain, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers trying different lines, trying to get around cars during the race.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. You're going to have to choose your spots. Even though this is a 1.25 mile racetrack, it races a lot like a short track. You have to beat the guy into the corner. When you go into a corner here, you're going to come from the top down to the bottom, down to the inside. So you've got to get your nose in under the guy, let him know you're there before he makes that move, or you're going to crash. So it's races a lot like a short track.
Eddie Cheever Jr. running an 11 spot. Has won a race in each of the last 5 seasons, including Kansas, of course, giving the Infinity 35A engine its first victory.
Sam Hornish Jr. has stretched his lead to just over 7 seconds. Kind of reminds me of the first couple races this year when he just was so dominant and ran away from everybody.
Yep. Scott Sharp is running in second position, but as Jason said, about 7.5 seconds behind Hornish.
And the reason that differential continues to increase, fellas, is because of that orange dot directly in front of Scott. Scott looks to the inside of the number 99. That's the Sam Schmidt car being driven this weekend by Alex Barron. For the last 13 laps, Scott Sharp's tried the inside as he does now to get by. Finally, Scott Sharp was able to get by and now says he'll be able to pick up the pace just a bit. He was being held up by the 99, but Larry just didn't have enough oomph to get by cleanly.
These engines have a very short power range, and if you don't get a really good run through the corner and a good shift down the straightaway, you just can't build up the momentum. The other thing is the other guy in front of you has to a lot of times make a little bit of a mistake. And just a lift, just a fraction of a second, if you get off that throttle, makes a huge difference by the time you get down that 2,000-foot straightaway.
And Shiggy Hattori is having problems in his Epson car as he is slowed down the backstretch. Shiggy had already, or was just about to be lapped running in 13th spot, but now he will go toward the pit entrance, we would guess, maybe off of corner number 4. So Hattori is having problems in addition to Buddy Lazier. And now, for some reason, the car just starts running again.
I think he got it back in gear and took off again. I think he was having trouble with the gear. He got it back in gear and took off. But it seems to be very intermittent, whatever the problem is.
And Ray are so close as they pass by Shiggy Hattori, I should say Jacques Lazier.
Man, oh man. Once again, those two almost touched us. Jacques Lazier, we've seen time after time. He is not afraid to use that outside groove where nobody else wants to go. He was out there that time, and I'm sure that Robbie Buell had no idea he was trying to make that move.
Buell running in 6th spot. Jacques is in 7th. That's Dare running in 8th. Then Jeff Ward in 9th, and Dismore in the 10th position.
Yeah, Dismore got messed up. When these two guys got through all that traffic up there, he got messed up and didn't get through it quite as well, and so he didn't gain the spots that they gained.
Mark started back in 19th spot because of the way that we lined up according to owner points, but he had a fast car in each of the practice sessions that we had here while we were dodging the raindrops. So 35 laps have been completed, and Sam Hornish Jr. with almost an 8-second advantage over Scott Sharp, then Salazar and Boat. We'll be right back.
Saturday, only Sky Sports brings you 3 epic World Cup qualifiers. A day of reckoning. On Sky Sports 1, all the tension in the Republic of Ireland's vital encounter with the Dutch. Or on Sky Sports 3, follow the fate of the Scots in an all-or-nothing push against Croatia. Then on Sky Sports 1 and Sky Sports Extra, one of the world's biggest games. All fired up in the return leg against Germany. It's do or die for England. The heat is on in a massive day of international football. Saturday from 2 World Cup qualifiers, the Republic of Ireland, Scotland and England, Sky Sports and Sky Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome. Right, contestants, fingers on buzzers. For 10 points, give me reasons why people are refused a loan. Jeff.
You want to consolidate all your existing debts, credit cards, store cards, into just one manageable monthly repayment.
Consolidate your debts. Okay, 10 points. Yes, Mary.
You've got a poor credit history, county court judgment or bad debts?
You mean a low credit rating?
Yes.
Well done. Colin.
You need to borrow a lot of money, £10,000, £15,000 or more.
Let's see. Yes, well done. Okay, now, any more reasons? Yes, John.
If you're not in full-time employment. self-employed, say, or retired.
Self-employed or retired, well done. Jeff again.
If you need to pay over a longer period, like 10 years or more, you know, keeping your outgoings down to a minimum.
Yes, good. Now there's one more. Pat.
You've already been refused a loan.
Refused elsewhere, that's correct. Well done. Now, for 30 bonus points and to win the game, who can give me a solution for people in these situations?
Ocean Finance?
That is the correct answer. You are our winner. Every month, Ocean Finance helps thousands of people in situations like these. What's more, there are no arrangement fees, no salesperson will call, and the loans can be used for virtually any purpose. So if you're a homeowner and you want to borrow from £3,000 to £50,000, simply call Ocean Finance now. You'll be under no obligation and you could secure the loan you need. Call Ocean Finance now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
Mum, you know I told you British Gas are cutting up to £200 off new central heating?
Yes, Jake.
Did you tell anyone?
Well...
Oh, Mum!
Hurry, and you too could save up to £200 on central heating in the British Gas summer sale. There are loads of ways to pay. Just call 0800 754 754 today.
Mum, is there anyone you didn't tell?
If you've been hurt in an accident in the last 3 years, you may be entitled to compensation.
I was carrying a bucket of hot tar and I fell over and poured it over my arm. I heard the National Accident Helpline come up on the radio. They put me in touch with a solicitor that specialises in accidents at work. They did it on a no-win, no-fee basis. I ended up with £21,000.
Find out free if you can make a no-win, no-fee claim. Call the National Accident Helpline now on 0800 556 557.
That ain't no way to spend the summer. Howdy, folks, it's your Colonel with another great idea for the summer. What you need is a KFC Mega Bucket like these guys. Check out my tasty Mega Bucket. 10 mouth-watering pieces of real chicken for only $9.99. And right now you can get a free 1.5-liter bottle of Pepsi to wash it all down. Enjoy the summer the easy way with my delicious Mega Bucket and free Pepsi. Nobody does chicken like KFC.
Let us see it.
I thought this was light years away. We have put a camera analysis on these people. I want to know what they've experienced.
You don't understand what we've seen.
Look for the sign. It's coming.
Experience the Sky Plus phenomenon. 08705 800 800.
Welcome back to the Gateway Indy 250. Series leader Sam Hornish Jr. leads while main rival Buddy Lazier has slipped down the order from his front row starting position. We're under our first caution flag of the day for debris on the track. So while they clear the track, everybody is nipping in to take on fuel and tyres. Let's cross now for the latest of the action from our trackside commentators.
Key is, will Sam Hornish be able to pull out first, or will the man running second directly behind him? And Scott Sharp there still working on Sharp's car. He loses 3-4 spots, but he's away as well.
Wow, he did lose a couple of spots. I'm kind of surprised. They're usually one of the fastest. And
He just had a collision on pit road. Alex Barron pulled out of his pit and was connected with another car. The rear wing is askew. The front end is up off the ground. This is close quarters racing, not only on the track, but on pit road as well.
He has quite a bit of damage to that car, Larry. On the right side, it's damage in the front end, and here in the back, the rear wing is all messed up. So it must have been quite a collision there on pit road.
That was not a light tap. Whoever he made contact with, I would be surprised if they didn't also have some damage, because he tore up both ends of that race car, the wings on front and back. It's going to take quite a while to change all that, especially the rear wing, because those things don't get changed very quickly.
Let's take a look at it once again. We'll see the contact, hopefully, between Buell and...
Oh.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Buell.
It wasn't Buell.
He pulled to the right. Was that his teammate?
That's Buzz Calkins.
Was it Buzz Calkins?
Yeah, it was Buzz Calkins in there.
Wow. What a tough break.
From another angle, we'll take another look at it.
Whoa.
Yeah, he started moving over to miss Buell. As Buell came out, and there just wasn't enough for 3 wide out there.
I'll tell you guys, the guy who made out the best in that round of pit stops was Al Unser Jr. He went in the pits a little ways back, and he came out in second position.
Well, Alex Barron appears to be out of the race. He has run 3 times here in the kart series, ran in 98, 99, and last year his best finish was a 14th, but it looks like it could be all over for him here in his first IRL race. There's Al Unser Jr. running in second position. We will be back to sort it all out and hopefully go back to racing at the St. Louis Indy 250 from Gateway International.
But of course, you stay with us here on Sky Sports Live. Alex Barron there having a terrible stage in the Champ Car regular, getting caught up 3 abreast in pit lane. Still with me here in the studio are Johnny Kane and Russell Bolgin. Johnny, you got to say that 3 abreast in a pit lane that wide doesn't really fit, does it?
No, I mean it's very difficult for all the guys. You know, he was moving to try and avoid one car on his left and just, you know, unsighted on the right, and 3 into 1 doesn't go. Well, we can take another look at that right now. Now, Alex Barron, you'll know, was at Rockingham just a week or 2 ago with Johnny Herbert practicing around the Rockingham track. He's a Champ Car regular, but he don't get a lot of this treatment out there, does he, Russ?
No, it's also unfortunate, of course. It's his first race with a new team, first race in a new formula. He wants to make a good impression, and he couldn't have made a much worse job of it than that, I'm afraid.
It's very, very crowded, though. He was very unfortunate that everybody was out of there so fast.
He was, but he's done 3 years of kart racing with regular pit stops. You know, he should know a little better than that.
Of course, what I should have said was everybody was out of there so fast except for Scott Sharp. Not very sharp on the way out. Oh, he went from 2nd to 5th.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cost him a lot of time as well, and it'd be interesting to see if that car is now good in traffic and he can start to make progress and repass cars as he moves up the field.
Now, we saw Shiggy Otori there that was almost a pedestrian around the bottom of the banking. Now, that's just what you don't want, really, isn't it, Johnny? It's you've already said that one turn on this course is very tight.
Yeah, I mean it is very narrow at one end, and you saw the Maynard car trying to go around the outside of the car in front, and a slow car on the inside is definitely not what you require there.
While we're on Menard, what about Jacques Lazier out there? I mean, there's a bit of controversy there, really, Russell. I'm sure you're right up to speed on what's happened there after Greg Ray got sacked.
It's been a very sort of turbulent week in the driver market in IRL, but I think the interesting thing is that Jacques, driving very aggressively, he's in traffic, he's doing a good job, he's trying to make up places, whereas if you remember the way Greg Ray used to drive, his whole tactic seemed to be put it on pole, get the car sorted out, and then run away from the field. Unfortunately, he used to crash at about 2/3 distance a bit too regularly. But I think Jacques Lazier at the moment is doing exactly the kind of job that Menard want. He's showing him he's a real racer, he's a real fighter, and he's adaptable in race situations.
Now, you're familiar with 1 or 2 of these guys out here as well. Some of the guys that started from a bit further down the field. Indy Lights have provided us with a good few drivers as far as this class is concerned now. Yep. How are they going to fare as the race moves on?
Well, I mean, the Indy Lights is basically a series that has half road course, half oval. So, you know, most of the guys in it that have come from Indy Lights have done quite a few oval races already. Giafoni, you know, has gone out already today, but you know, in particular, he was good on ovals when I raced against him the last 2 years. Didier Andre is another guy that's come in, and he wasn't so good on ovals, but you know, I think he's upped his game a little bit this year, and he seems to be doing quite well.
Well, indeed. Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is the first visit of the IRL to the Gateway track near St. Louis on the Missouri-Illinois border. So let's take a look at the track facts. And there it is, 1.25 mile paved oval, the front straight 1,922 feet long, back straight 1,976 feet long. We give you all the extras here, don't we? Width 60 feet, the straightaways just 3 degrees on the banking, turns 1 and 2 11 degrees, turns 3 and 4 just 9 degrees. That's a tricky old turn 3, I'm told. 60,000 seats if you want to sit down. If you want to stand up, there's standing room too. But right now, you won't be seeing very much because we are under a caution as they clear away the very unfortunate Alex Barron, the Champ Car regular that is no more in this IRL race today. Let's talk about Rockingham for a split second, because Barron and Johnny Herbert were flying around there, Russell, very, very quickly, and we've got a Champ Car race coming up in not too distant future. We have, and the prospects are looking very good. I think everything we've heard from the drivers who've either seen it or driven on it is that it's an extremely good racetrack, and they're looking at a lap speed, certainly in qualifying, of over 200 miles an hour, which will be worth seeing. Indeed it will be. Well, we are taking another look down pit lane at the moment of that incident, I think, a little bit earlier. No, we're not. So as we're about to come back under green, I'm told, let's cross then back to our live commentary team at trackside and St. Louis.
will only be one car for Scott Sharp, and Mark Dismore will be looking elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's a real tough break for him. He's one of the really, truly nice guys in this sport, and it's tough to go out and get a huge sponsor at this time for next year. So hopefully he'll come up with one, but it's going to be tough.
Sam Hornish, right on his rear wing is Al Unser Jr. back there in the fourth car in line. He's going to get around Lazaro, and now he'll come up to try to pass his teammate Didier Andre and the leader of the race, Sam Hornish, and he disposes of Didier Andre quickly, and now Al Unser Jr. sets his sights on Sam Hornish.
Al Unser Jr. is quite a competitor. He wants to win as bad as anybody could ever want to win these races. He wants to prove to everybody that he's back in this series, and right now he's in a great spot to at least hang on and try to do that.
Another reason why Al Unser Jr. wants to perform well here this weekend, fellas, is because of a brewery across the Mississippi River. Budweiser is one of Al Jr.'s auxiliary sponsors, and they've been involved in very serious negotiations to take over primary sponsorship next year.
Man, oh man, they're not supposed to be able to run three wide through the corners here, but Jacques Lazier did.
They told us that these guys weren't going to be able to pass down in 1 and 2 on the outside, but Jacques Lazier certainly proved him wrong that time. Man, what a move.
Jacques running in 5th spot. And Vince is with Buzz Calkins.
Buzz Calkins, one of those involved in that pit lane incident, a front left lower wishbone broken. Did you just not have any room?
Yeah, the pit lane here is so narrow. It's a lot like Indianapolis, where you just don't have any room. And if somebody comes up into the high-speed lane, you know, that's the way it's going to go. And Alex, it wasn't his fault either. I mean, he got forced up there too by whoever was in front of him.
Chris Meninga has pulled off the racetrack, and it's going to bring out another caution. I don't think he hit anything, did he? Or did he? Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe he did. He pulled off pretty abruptly and slowed down pretty quickly, so that's too bad for him.
We noticed that Felipe Giafoni was running very slowly on the racetrack also. This is Meninga's first race in the IRL, and this is his second car from the Himmelgarn stable.
Yeah, you're seeing they're checking him out. They're taking a look at the back of the car, and here you can see the wing, part of the front wing, laying up by the wall. So he definitely made some contact up there of some sort. And there you can see the black mark. He's already spun and in the wall. Looks like he did a complete spin, hit it with the right front corner, and then just kind of pulled it straight down into the pit area after that. Luckily, there was nobody real close behind him.
He is a former champion of the Barber Dodge Series and finished 5th in an Indy Lights race here at Gateway International Raceway last year. So his is the second caution that we have experienced so far in the first 53 laps of this race. We'll be right back.
Chris Meninga then gets a quick ride back to pit lane, a wave to the crowd, but he'll be very, very unhappy as far as that's concerned. I think that might be his first ever race in this series. Johnny Kane, you've raced with him before, haven't you?
Yeah, I raced against him in Indy Lights the last 2 years. Him and Felipe Giafoni were actually teammates together last year. He's quite a good young driver, American guy, and better on the ovals than he is on road courses, but unfortunately made a bit of a mistake today.
Definitely not today, you could say, really, couldn't you? Alex Barron and Chris Meninga going out, and there's a fair old toll at this track. It's the first time IRL have raced here, Russell. Are we seeing what we think is going to be typical for the rest of the race, do you think, or is it just it looks a bit nervous to me?
It looks a bit nervous. I think one of the interesting things is that, according to Eddie Cheever, there's a 35-mile-an-hour speed difference around the track. So you do a lot of decelerating, and as you decelerate, again according to Cheever, the car becomes a little less stable aerodynamically. So you're seeing cars that the characteristics are changing from end to end of the circuit. Maybe that's starting to catch some people out.
That's normal though, isn't it, Johnny, with wings? I mean, as soon as you start decelerating, you lose a bit of downforce, and so it all gets a bit squirrely.
Yeah, normally the rear end gets a little bit light, which you don't want, obviously on the entry to such a high-speed corner. But at this track, with the two ends being so different, you get quite a lot of understeer at 1 and 2, the tighter corner, and really you have to try and get rid of some of that, but then obviously that makes the rear end fairly nervous, 3 and 4.
Well, it's making me nervous watching what's going on at the moment. We are under our second caution of the St. Louis 250. Almost got it wrong because it's 200 laps and it's 250 miles. There we are then, a bit of debris down on the track. So as you can see, as we look from Sarah Fisher, and we cross now straight to comms.
Well, the pit lane's obviously really tight down there, and we're pitted behind Walker. And I tried to get around Fisher's tire. Tried to go around the right side of the tire, was out there quite a ways, and you know, I just dropped the clutch and let it go around, and that's the only way I could get it out of the box without hitting the tire. Once I came out, she was coming out pretty slow. I was trying to go around her, and then I got the call on the radio from the spotter saying that the high line is already taken, and by that time it was already too late. So it was just some miscommunication on our part, and you know, it's tight down there. It's hard to get out.
Not the kind of debut in the Sam Schmidt Motorsports machine you were looking for. Will you be in Chicago in that car or not?
Don't know yet. Don't know yet. We're just taking it one race at a time. We'll see what happens.
Alex Barron.
And on pit road, Buddy Lazier's crew has taken the engine cover off of his car.
Well, we've talked that the first guy that stubbed his toe might lose the championship, and this could make the difference. They're going to have to hope that Sam Hornish has some sort of a problem in one of the last two races, because if he doesn't, this pretty much puts him in the catbird seat.
Buddy is already one lap down and is going to go more than one down if they can't get this car out quickly, and it appears as if they are going to concentrate on fixing the problem before they get him out. Speaking of baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals are sponsoring Robbie McGee's car. The St. Louis Cardinals, Atlas Van Lines, and Compton Roofing, all combining their efforts to get this St. Louis driver a good race here this weekend.
Yeah, it's cool to see a town rally behind a hometown hero like Robbie McGee, you know.
And Larry Rice is from Brownsburg, Indiana, speaking of the Little League World Series, and I'm sure your town was quite excited about your guys' performance.
Yes, they were. Everybody was very excited. They came home the other day, the whole town of Brownsburg was at the airport to meet them, even though they lost.
Well, Bob, one of the things that you were talking about that St. Louis Cardinals sponsorship, Robbie McGee said earlier today on Indy Racing Today that ever since he was a child, he used to go to Busch Stadium and bring his glove to try and hope to catch a ball. So he said it was only apropos he thought to paint the car up to look like a giant baseball.
It's a good-looking race car.
Speaking of good performances, though, Bob Jenkins, I think congratulations are in order to you for being the Indiana State Fair watermelon seed spitting champion. Am I right in that?
Not really, no. It was sort of a private contest, shall we say. Not the whole state fair. Quite an honor, though, Jason.
Well, congratulations anyway,
Jason. Thanks very much.
Well, the car of Robbie McGee, as we were talking about a while ago, it's a beautiful race car. It'd be great to see some of these sports like baseball and football and racing get involved with each other.
We've got Anthony Lazzaro's lap car in there. Other than that, the top four are running right together. Here's Al Unser Jr. anticipating the green flag, and he's trying to get around the leader, Sam Hornish. He cuts to the inside, and he'll race Sam down into turn number one. Will Al Unser Jr. get the lead here? Yes, he's going to.
Unbelievable. What a great move by Al Unser Jr. And look who's right behind Sam Hornish now.
Jacques Lazier.
That was phenomenal. That was it. You know, Al Unser Jr. has been through so many restarts in his very long career. I think that was just a lot of experience.
But I will tell you, the Pennzoil Panther crew not at all happy with that restart. Kevin Blanche just giving an earful to the Indy Racing League official here. They did not feel like that start was in command of the leader, Hornish. And they let the IRL know they thought so.
It's the first time that Al Unser Jr. has led an Indy racing competition since Miami, the second race this year.
And Robbie Buell running back there and forth. We see him following Jacques Lazier. He made a run on Jacques Lazier down the front straightaway last lap, but didn't have enough oomph to get by him.
And it put Scott Sharp back to the 5th position. By the way, Buddy Lazier is back out onto the racetrack, but he right now is shown in 17th position, 4 laps down. And Vince is standing by with another driver who's dropped out, Billy Rowe.
Billy, what was the problem today?
Well, we went out there all weekend. The car was just great. We went out there about 4 or 5 laps in. All of a sudden, the thing just started stepping sideways on me. So we think we got a broken shock. And this is the end of the season, important race for these guys. And I felt like I was going to crash. I thought we were going to do it 3 or 4 times. So we just thought we'd just go ahead and bring it in and save it for Chicago and Dallas.
Good decision.
85-year-old George Bignotti, who wrenched many Indy 500 winners, is helping on the crew. His son also works on that team, and George Bignotti was here once again. And also to kind of recall some historic moments from Indy racing of long ago, Bo Sealfast was on the car this weekend in a sponsorship role. It's good to see the Bo Sealfast logo on that car, as it was on many winners, including A.J. Foyt's 1961 winning Indy 500 car.
Well, Mark Dismore, if you're wondering what happened to him, he's back in 12th spot. And on that last restart, he got very sideways. And he just said that must have been the cold tires. But once he got sideways, he lost a couple of spots.
Hornish is having difficulty getting by Lazzaro. Now he does. And Jacques Lazier is going to go to the outside.
Well, everybody else is waiting for him to make a move on the inside. And as soon as they get out of the throttle, let somebody go, he just goes around on the outside.
I tell you, he is absolutely fearless in that car, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Here is Eddie Cheever trying to get to the inside of Donnie Beechler as they contest the 7th spot. Cheever right now in 8th.
And Cheever told us earlier that he didn't think his Infinity was as well suited to this racetrack as it is to the 1.5 mile, the tri-oval, because it has a short power band. Robbie Buell, though, seems to be running very well and might just have something to do with exactly what gears you choose. If you can choose the right gears and shift going down that back straightaway, you should still be able to hit that power band in that engine.
Eddie Murphy.
I have been having a very bad day. Just got out of jail this morning. Already I have been shot at. I was on the bus and flipped over 17 times. Somebody blew up my Porsche. I am in a bad mood.
Oh, that's a real good story, Reggie. Nick Nolte, back together and bringing the house down. Another 48 hours. Tonight at 10 on Scowan. Yeah.
I think I'm going crazy. All I keep thinking about are those awful bills. I'm even dreaming about them.
Haven't you heard of Portfield Financial Services? They offer loans at very reasonable rates.
You think that's the answer?
They'll take all your debts, store cards, credit cards, and convert them into one manageable monthly payment. And you can borrow anything from £3,000 to £100,000.
Sounds great, but my credit rating's not very good.
As long as you own your own home and you can afford the monthly payments, that's usually good enough.
Hello, Portfield.
Call Portfield Financial Services to arrange a loan over the phone. Our loans are for any purpose. There's no fuss, no hassle. Call free on 0800 169 1691 now. Even if you have little or no equity in your property, we can usually help. Portfield, making life easier.
It's more than just fear. It's the waiting. There's the pressure of knowing that you have to go on. You just kind of want to be out there actually doing it. You count down the time. You're sickeningly nervous. Things endlessly just spinning around your head. Facing an audience. You are on your own. There's no safety rope.
Katie?
What?
Did you know that inside us all there are millions of good bacteria and millions of bad bacteria?
What? In here?
And drinking Yakult helps the good ones because Yakult's full of friendly bacteria.
What? In there?
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Hello?
Yakult. Because, Katie, well-being begins inside.
As chairman of Vision Express, I am always looking for new ideas. These enhanced contact lenses have been proven in eye examinations to help you see better than ordinary contact lenses, as my assistant will now demonstrate. Ready, George?
Could you read the number plate on that vehicle, please?
W277SEG. Et voilà! Enhanced contact lenses make small things bigger.
Vision Express. Experts with vision.
I literally woke up one morning and said, hey, where's my joy?
Through the Haagen-Dazs Sensual Eating Program, you can find that joy.
At first I felt ridiculous, but enjoying pleasure is a life skill.
Pleasure is the path to joy.
The fridge opened, but it was me who filled up with light.
He found his joy. You can too.
The bottom of the tub I found my smile.
Pleasure is the path to joy.
This is the Gateway Indy 250, and what a race. We're on lap 79 of 200. The three top men have broken away at the front. Al Unser Jr., the 8th qualifier, leads from Sam Hornish, the poleman. Jacques Lazier in the new Menards car, new for him anyway, is in 3rd place after qualifying in 13th. We rejoin the race commentary team at the track.
They're catching Shigea Tori up here. When they catch them, the guy who gets through the traffic the best is going to come out ahead in this mix. And believe me, sometimes it's not all that easy because some of these guys just don't move over and let you go by.
Sam Hornish Jr. led the first 58 laps, and then Al Unser Jr. took over and has led since that time. And Jacques Lazier now dropping back just a little bit from Sam Hornish in 3rd position. Here's Unser looking to the inside of Shigea Tori, getting around him fine, and Hornish will follow.
Yeah, that was a nice gesture on Shigea's part. He moved over, he saw them coming, he didn't try to contest anybody, he took the high line and let all 3 of them go by on the bottom.
Hattori has been so consistent this year. In fact, Jason labeled him as Mr. Consistency because he has had 2 7th place finishes most recently. He finished 8th at Kansas, had a 10th place at Texas, an 8th at Atlanta, and so on and so forth. But Hattori has been having his problems here in the early going of this race. Down to Vince Welch.
Anthony Lazzaro is just leaving the pits. He's the rookie running one of the cars for Sam Schmidt Motorsports, 37 years old, a former Toyota Atlantic champion. They had high hopes for him. He did his rookie test here and felt very comfortable. His team being run by the Treadway Hubbard crew, but Lazzaro reported that the car was losing power on the backstretch. They brought him in, took the cowling off, and said that the engine looked and sounded fine, so they're going to put him back out there, but keep an eye on the 44 car of Anthony Lazzaro.
Felipe Giafoni is reported to be out of the race, and every time a car drops out, of course, it is a help somewhat to Buddy Lazier as he struggles out there. 83 laps are in the books. It's Al Unser Jr. leading Hornish, Lazier, Buell, and Sharp.
Al Unser Jr. then is the man of the moment, and he's not led, as far as I can remember, since right at the beginning of the year, Johnny Kane.
Yeah, but obviously very experienced, been in motor racing for a very long time and been to this circuit quite a few times before, so he seems to have possibly the best car at the moment, made no changes in his pit stop, very happy with the car obviously.
Russell, I've left this question to you. He's an unusual character, isn't he, Al Unser? He never looks fit enough to me to be racing a car, but I can say that, you probably won't.
I couldn't possibly comment. No, I think he's had a very interesting career. He's one of the few drivers who's successfully switched from kart to IRL. He's had an up and down year though. I mean,
he's a mega talent that doesn't seem to do it consistently.
From a family of mega talents, but this year his car's either on the pace or way off the pace, which makes you think that perhaps they've got some engineering shortcomings in the team. But the car, looks, Johnny said, looks great at the moment, and he's doing a good job of holding off Hornish, and as we know, Hornish is really quick.
For me, Jacques Lazier is the story of the moment. I mean, he's up there in 3rd place. He started off steadily qualifying from 13th place on the grid. He's replaced Greg Ray in the Menards team, which, well, as far as qualifying is concerned, there's some fairly big boots to fill, but it looks like he's doing the business as far as the race is concerned at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the race is going extremely well for him. He's staying with Schmidt, with Hornish at the moment. I think he's struggling with the rear end of the car still. I heard the team talking about trying the rear bar, which would make me think they want to soften it.
Talk us around a lap of this place, Johnny. You've been here, you've raced here. I mean, they're pulling 3.3 G in the corners at one point, I noticed, and and they're on the rev limit now and again as well. Talk us through a lap.
Well, obviously down the front straight, some people will downshift into 1 and 2 because it is very tight. Others will either have a big lift, or some might even keep on the throttle and just use the brakes a little bit to try and settle the car.
Rally style, 2 foot.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do on an oval because, you know, you don't really have to downshift very often, so you can just use the throttle and the brake together a lot of the time. You know, some people prefer to just lift earlier and for a longer period. Others prefer to actually have a little bit of a dab on the brake. But then the other end is totally different. It's just a slight lift on the way in and then back on the throttle as hard as you can, as soon as you can, and that's when you get the chance to overtake someone again.
So you can see Felipe Giafoni there. We might just get a word with him.
For that, I'm only really sad just because I really have a great car today. And then we tried to fix it, but there is still something wrong there. We couldn't find what it was, so we parked it.
Still a runaway leader in the Rookie of the Year standings, Felipe Giafoni.
Up until today, there were only 3 drivers' car combinations that had finished were running at the end of every race. Calkins, Giafoni, and Hornish. The only guy left standing now is Sam Hornish.
He is running in second position, just a couple of car lengths behind Alonso Jr. There's Eliseo Salazar running 6th, Cheever right behind him in 7th, then Beechler and Boat and Ward. All of them here on the main straightaway. Now Salazar taking it into corner number 1.
Well, Salazar had a good starting position here today, and he's done pretty well. I mean, he's run a good, consistent race. Cheever, on the other hand, had a poor starting position. He came up, but he didn't really make the charge that we're used to seeing him make. He's come up very consistently.
And one of the drivers making his IRL debut, Chris Meninga, also out of the race, and Vince is with him.
Chris, I know not the way you wanted your first Indy Racing League event to come to a close. Explain what happened to you in the 92 car.
Just coming up on the traffic there, I took a little bit slower entry into turn 1 to try to get a good run on them coming out, and the car just got loose, and I didn't get a chance to catch it. Probably just a little bit to do with being right behind a couple of guys, and get a little air taken off the car, and it's got a little loose.
Will we see you in Chicago or Texas?
Yeah, we'll be back in Chicago. It's unfortunate it had to end this way today. We were having a really good weekend, and running up in the top 10 most of the weekend, and fortunately, we because of the rain, we qualified poorly, and you get what you get. We'll be all right.
We'll see you at Chicago. Chris Meninga.
Meninga's from a little town in Iowa called Pella, and Larry, isn't that close to Knoxville, where the Nationals are held?
Certainly is. Of course, famous for the Pella windows as well. So a lot of things happening out there in Central Iowa. See some green flag pit stops here pretty shortly if we don't have a yellow. They've run 52 laps since the last pit stop, and a lot of these guys, that's going to be close to the window.
2 of the 3 of these cars that you're watching here are A.J. Foyt-owned cars. Here is Beechler inside of Cheever and taking the position. So Salazar and Beechler, Foyt's drivers, are now running in the 6th and 7th positions.
Bullet Beechler living the dream.
That's right.
And once again, A.J. Foyt had some advice for Beechler. Remember, Beechler told us how he advised him on the way to enter a corner? Well, to this time, he told him the way to exit the corner, too, to pick up some speed, and he said it worked. He said, I picked up about a mile an hour.
Donnie gained 3 positions in the point standings as a result of his 5th place finish at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago. He is in 15th spot in the point standings, tied with Sarah Fisher, and that only after 7 events this year. He didn't begin his IRL season until the Indianapolis 500.
Larry, I have a question for you. If you are in a situation where you're expecting green flag stops, do you follow the leader if the leader pits if you're Sam Hornish, or do you just stay on your own sequence?
Well, I think Sam Hornish, I think those guys are going to stay on their own sequence. They've got their own idea of exactly what they want to do, especially now that Buddy Lazier has had trouble. They're going to try to pick out their own race, run their own race, hope for a win, but more importantly, hope for the finish.
Our next Indy Racing League event will be next Sunday at the new Chicagoland Speedway. Hornish. Outside. No, not this time.
And you can see how much time he lost. He had to get out of the throttle, push the front end when he went right in behind Alonso Jr., and he lost 8 or 10 car lengths just because of that one move. But that's what you have to do. You've got to try that move getting into the corner.
Unser running well after a rather poor start for the Team Gallus effort, but in recent events, he's done very well. A third place at Richmond, a DNF at Kansas City and Nashville, but a strong fourth place performance at Kentucky just 2 weeks ago. And right now, Al Unser Jr. is at the front of the field. He's been leading for the last 41 laps.
55 says jam them up. This is your chance now. Get a good run on them.
We believe the Hornish will be in about 5 or 6 laps. And now Sam's going to look to the outside as they come off the corner as we reach the halfway point. 100 in, 100 to go. They're coming up to lap Robbie McGee.
And that was Torrey. Did you see how Al Unser used that pick? All that experience as the Hornish went to the outside. He says, okay, you can have the outside. I know there's going to be a slower car out there. You're going to have to lift.
Keep it up.
Well, he has a good student, if you will, behind him. Al Unser Jr. could probably give some pointers to the younger Sam Hornish.
5 laps till we pit.
5 laps until the pit. McGee, by the way, will be going 2 laps down in 13th position if little Al is able to get around him, and it looks he will be able to do so here on the backstretch. Vince is with Anthony Lazzaro, who's out of the race.
Well, another making his debut today, hoping for better luck, but you had a bit of a power problem, and then you asked if you could drive the car behind the wall. It's not NASCAR. You run some bush races.
Well, I've been in so many different series this year, you got to ask because you just don't know. But no, I got to thank the guys at Standard Management for making this opportunity possible. Sam Schmidt, you gave me my dream, buddy. You let me start in IndyCar racing. For that, I'm forever thankful. I got to thank the people at BG Products. Got to thank Ray Parsons, and the guys at WorldCom. Without their help, this wouldn't be possible. Guys over here in the Treadway crew gave me a really good car during the race.
Will we see it Chicago or Texas?
You know, the way my career has been going, if you even want to call it a career, but I never know from day to day. Hopefully I'll be back.
Look for Anthony Lazzaro, guys.
Anthony and Sam Schmidt were teammates in the Hooters Series back in 1995, and that's one of the reasons why Sam tabbed him as the driver of that second car this weekend.
Look for Sam Hornish to pit in 2 laps. They will make one major change on the car. That's
here comes Lazier now, Jack.
Lazier is coming in, so he'll be the first of the leaders. And Hornish's crew is getting ready to go to work as well.
Jacques Lazier brings the Menards car down pit lane, looking for his pit box. And the crew goes to work.
So far, it's a nominal stop for Jacques Lazier. First time driving for Team Menard. If they reach in to try and take any debris, they might be clogging up the radiators.
With the Ryder Cup ahead, the BMW International Open provides a golden opportunity for European players to perfect their game.
What a shot to play at its finest.
A last opportunity to claim an automatic team place.
You have to dig down deep.
And a fine opportunity to impress the skipper.
It's good, it's good, it's terrific.
European Tour Golf in association with Scottish Life starts Thursday 9:30, Sky Sports 1.
Are you looking for a loan but don't know which way to turn? Perhaps you want to consolidate your existing debts. You may have a low credit rating because of previous credit problems, or your employment status. You may wish to borrow a considerable amount of money and repay over a period of time to suit you. One call and the loan company will point you in the right direction. All the loan company asks is that you're a homeowner looking to borrow between £3,000 and £50,000. And please remember that all circumstances will be considered. There are no interviews, no arrangement fees, and no salesperson will call. So for that any-purpose homeowner loan, call the loan company now on 0800 328 3280. That's 0800 328 3280.
It's more than just fear. It's the waiting. There's the pressure of knowing that you have to go on. You just kind of want to be out there actually doing it. You count down the time. You're sickeningly nervous. Things endlessly just spinning around your head. Facing an audience. You are on your own. There's no safety rope.
fresh taste and aroma of Nescafe Gold Blend. Inspiring stuff.
Get Britain's best-selling MPV for 11,980 with air conditioning. The Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind.
People have been asking me, where's the catch on this money-back car insurance thingy from insure.co.uk? They say you don't get your money back on car insurance just because you don't claim. Au contraire, I say, there is no catch. Sorry. Every year you'll get the lowest quote from a raft of leading insurers. Stay claim-free for 5 years and you get your first year's money back in full. No catches, no nonsense, no worries. Call now on 08702 43 43 44 and stop looking for the catch. Insure.co.uk. Car insurance reinvented and about time too.
It is such a long drive down to the end of pit road. Way at the end, you can see Kevin Blanche waving to try and provide a mark for Sam. He hits his mark, and now it's time for the crew to go to work.
It's a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit. So when you're going only 60 miles an hour and everybody else is running 160 out of the racetrack, you can certainly lose a lot of time if you make just one slide in.
13.4 seconds for Sam Hornish. That included a change of 4 Firestones, methanol, and 2 turns in the front wing.
Robbie Buell moved up to second momentarily, but now he's in, and so is Al Unser Jr. as he gives up the lead of the race. So we're seeing wholesale pit stops here on the 107th lap. Mark Dismore is also in for a pit stop. There's little Al coming to a stop, and the Gallus team going to work.
Pump your clutch.
We'll see if he can get in and out. Remember, the fastest time we've heard so far is a little over 11 seconds. Looked to be a pretty clean pit stop.
Vittori making a stop right behind Unser.
Well, we were watching that stop by Al Unser Jr., who was elected to pit all the way at the far end of pit road. Scott Sharp and the Delphi Automotive crew were in and out very quickly. By my unofficial clock, they had the job done in less than 11 seconds.
Hornish just going into turn number 1 now, while Al Unser Jr. has already exited the pits at the end of the backstretch. Ayrton Dare has taken over the lead of the race, but he needs a pit stop shortly.
Well, pitting under a green flag is always a bit of a technical situation, isn't it, really? It looked to me like Sam Hornish Jr. Made a little bit out of that, but it looked to me like they were making some adjustments as far as the front wing was concerned there, Johnny.
Yeah, they said they put a couple of turns into the front wing. He was struggling with oversteer earlier. They perhaps took too much out of the front wing and ended up with a little bit of an understeer. So they've probably put a little bit back in, just trying to get the balance back. But Unser made no changes at all, so he's happy with his car.
Al Unser Jr. is having one of those days that we were talking about earlier, one of his brilliant days, because he really, Sam Hornish was challenging him earlier on and he just saw him off.
He did, but it's interesting to see where they've come out on the track relative to each other. It'll be interesting to see that if Unser can catch up with Hornish again now. So I think there's still everything to play for, but it's definitely between those two guys.
Indeed. Well, let's go back to the track and find out exactly what's going on. There's Al Unser Jr.
Scott Sharp is going to move up into the 5th position.
And Scott Sharp has developed a problem, fellas, after that last pit stop. If you listen very closely to the song of his Oldsmobile down the front straightaway, it is a little bit off-key. The reason, just like Buddy Lazier, the Delphi crew is experiencing some sort of an electric fuel injection problem.
This has been an interesting race in terms of drivers having mechanical problems that we have not seen a great deal this year.
Yeah, as we said, 2 of the guys who have finished every race are already out. Buddy Lazier has had a couple of problems, but not many in the last 7 or 8 races.
Unser came in first and came out first. In fact, there was really very little movement among the top 5, a little bit of shuffling, but the top 5 in are the same as they are coming out in a little bit different order.
Yeah, Mark Dismore made the big move. He moved up to 7th spot after that series of pit stops, so he had a good pit stop, and the strategy paid off and gained him about 5 spots.
Now, when Dismore made the pit stop, that put some more cars back on the lead lap, including Donnie Beechler, Eddie Cheever, Salazar, and Darday. There are 10 cars that are now on the lead lap. Billy Boat shown back in 11th position, a lap down, and Jeff Ward is in 12th, also 1 lap down. Al Unser Jr., looking for his second win in IRL competition, leads after 120 of 200 laps.
Well, as the Americans take a break over there, that gives us an opportunity to come back here in Sky Sports Studio. And I have to say that something we should recognise on this programme today, and I know everyone here at Sky Sports was saddened by the news of Ken Tyrrell's death yesterday. I'm sorry to drop this one straight on you, but the Americans went to a break rather suddenly. Russell, I mean, a great man, 77 years old. He touched all corners of motorsport. Your tribute?
I think that the most interesting thing about Ken Tyrrell is that Jackie Stewart drove for Ken Tyrrell from Formula 3 right the way through to 3 World Championships. And we talk nowadays a lot about how Schumacher has assembled a team around him of Ferrari, Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne and all the technical people. In a way, Stewart and Tyrrell pioneered that approach. It was difficult in the 70s to tell it sometimes whether it was Ken's team or Jackie's team. And actually what they did was work so well together that they were effectively, you couldn't divide them. Interesting man of integrity, a man who was never afraid to stand up and say, I disagree with the way Formula One's going. Got into various scrapes during the years because of that. But and also I think, sadly, one of the last of the old school team bosses. We now have a lot of teams that are owned by cigarette companies or are kind of manufactured just to promote products. Ken Tyrrell raced because he loved it.
Thank you very much, Russell. Ken Tyrrell, who died sadly yesterday at the age of 77. Let's take a look back then at the track. It's St. Louis, it's the Gateway 250, and this is what's happening live. This is Jacques Lazier, and let's cross to our commentary team and hear what they've got to say.
I believe they've got a bad crank trigger and the engine has been missing, so whether or not this turns out to be a terminal problem, only time will tell. But Jacques told me today a win for this team would be a top 5 finish. Well, currently he's right up there running 3rd, but whether or not he can stay there or not, there are a lot of worried looks in the faces of the John Menard pit.
75 laps to go in this race, so we've still got a long way to go. Here is Eliseo Salazar and Ayrton Daré as they battle for 9th position.
You know, even with that little minor hiccup he's having in the engine, Jacques still running right on pace with everybody else. I don't, unless it progresses to get worse, as does happen sometimes with these things, I think he'll be able to hold on to his position for a while.
Lazier is trying to become the 4th driver to win an IRL race in a Team Menard car. Tony Stewart has 3 wins, Robbie Buell 1, and Greg Ray 5 wins for John Menard. Eliseo Salazar suddenly has a problem.
Yeah, that thing just turned off as he was going down the back straightaway. Daré made a quick move to the inside. Everybody else followed him and missed him, but it just looked like the engine turned off, or perhaps the drive line just went away right in the middle of the back straightaway.
A lot of attrition here this afternoon, Larry. What's going on? I mean, we talked about these long straightaways, and you're down the straightaway, it seems, forever here. Could that be playing a factor?
Well, I guess it could, but you would think it wouldn't be nearly as much a factor as some of the tracks that they've been on. They've complained about how rough they are.
Larry, one of the problems, yet again, with Salazar, it's an electrics problem. We talk about fuel injection, we talk about the black boxes. There is so much that is computer-driven and ECM-driven on these cars. That seems to be the overwhelming malady that's striking all these teams today.
Somebody must be in the arch with some sort of a radar electric gun or something screwing them up. I don't know.
Well, Salazar is moving very slowly down pit lane. That has brought out our 3rd caution of the afternoon, however.
Yeah, and he's reporting that the engine just shut off down the back straightaway, so whatever it was, happened in a hurry.
Ayrton Dare was just about to go a lap down when the caution came out, so it's a save for him. He's in 9th position. Well, it hasn't been too long since they made pit stops. We're going to see some more here.
Well, I don't think you're going to see a lot. You're going to see the guys in the back of that lead lap, like Cheever and Dari. You might see them come in, but I don't know whether you're going to see the leaders come in. They can still run another 30 laps.
Larry, you should not see Al Unser Jr. coming in at all. He just got on the radio with Rick Gallis. They discussed at the telemetry shows. They've only used 11 gallons. So Rick said, I don't think we should come in. And all little Al says, I agree.
AJ Foyt with his car of Eliseo Salazar rolling in. AJ, is it an electrical problem, and what will you do to try to get it fixed?
Actually, we've been having some ECU problems. Something happened, an electrical problem, so I think something must have went off on the ECU because we put a different one in for the race, and my engine man wanted to run this, and I don't know. I mean, something happened. I don't know if it's that or what, but it seemed like we got an electrical problem.
Seems like we've had a lot of attrition in the field this week. Can you pinpoint that at all?
No, it's just one of them deals, you know, and we got to just find out what happened.
AJ's grandson, AJ the fourth, was it? Tried to make his Silver Bullet debut at Springfield, Illinois last weekend, and got as far as qualification attempt and flipped, and that was it.
Yeah, and everybody was a little nervous about AJ standing around. He wasn't smiling much when that happened, but all of a sudden he grabbed his grandson, kind of gave him a Dutch rub, and they thought, well, he must not be too mad.
So we are under caution once again here at Gateway International Raceway with 131 laps completed. And again, 9 cars on the lead lap here with Unser, Hornish, Jacques Lazier, Buell, Beechler, Sharp, Dismore, Cheever, and Dare all on the lead lap. Al Unser Jr. has now led the most laps here this afternoon. He's been in front of the field for 64 circuits.
Stick with Wednesday night action every Wednesday night from 10 on Sky Movie Max.
If you're a safe driver like me, his insurance claims could be pushing up your premiums, which used to get me all But now I've found eSure. They don't insure unsafe drivers, so they can reward the safe ones with a no-claim discount of up to 75%. So call 0845 045 4000 and you'll feel all... Don't get mad, get eSure.
If you've been hurt in an accident in the last 3 years, you may be entitled to compensation. Like Keith Early.
Yeah, I was knocked off my bicycle while I was cycling around the roundabout. I phoned the National Accident Helpline, and they found me a specialist solicitor in my area, and I was awarded just over £6,000 in compensation. It was a no-win, no-fee claim.
Find out free if you can make a no-win, no-fee claim. Call the National Accident Helpline now on 0800 556 557.
Alive is finding a new haircut, but I haven't found one yet.
I'd like that one, please.
Alive is also a still chuggable fruit drink.
Hello and welcome. Right, contestants, fingers on buzzers. For 10 points, give me reasons why people are refused a loan. Jeff.
You want to consolidate all your existing debts, you know, credit cards, store cards, into just one manageable monthly repayment.
Consolidate your debts. Okay, 10 points. Yes, Mary.
You've got a poor credit history, a county court judgment, or bad debts?
You mean a low credit rating?
Yes.
Well done. Colin.
You need to borrow a lot of money, £10,000, £15,000 or more.
Let's see. Yes, well done. Okay, now, any more reasons? Yes, John.
If you're not in full-time employment,
employment. Self-employed, say, or retired.
Self-employed or retired. Well done. Jeff again.
If you need to pay over a longer period, like 10 years or more, you know, keeping your outgoings down to a minimum.
Yes, good. Now there's one more. Pat.
You've already been refused a loan.
Refused elsewhere. That's correct. Well done. Now, for 30 bonus points and to win the game, who can give me a solution for people in these situations?
Ocean Finance?
That is the correct answer. You are our winner. Every month, Ocean Finance helps thousands of people in situations like these. What's more, there are no arrangement fees, no salesperson will call, and the loans can be used for virtually any purpose. So if you're a homeowner and you want to borrow from £3,000 to £50,000, simply call Ocean Finance now. You'll be under no obligation and you could secure the loan you need. Call Ocean Finance now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
We're still under caution in St Louis, and there's plenty of action going on here. Al Unser Jr. is in the pits, so is Sam Hornish. And we can see Al Unser already, look at that, I mean he's flying in there. So Al Unser Jr. straight down pit lane, so what they call a splash and dash, that's for sure. And look at that, Rick Gallagher's team, Al Unser's team owner has got him straight out there.
Right from Rick Gallis, because Rick, you had an animated discussion about whether to pit or not. You wanted about another 8 laps under caution, and then you would have, what, pitted? But now you've decided to go. Why?
We were conservative, but we were leading the race. We thought they might follow us, and thank God they did. So, you know, it's a gamble, but at least we pitted under yellow. I don't want to be stuck out under their green because he needs to win this race, Jack.
So now are you going to be able to go the distance without stopping again?
If we get another yellow, we can. If not, they're going to have to come with us. So
it's all about strategization, to manufacture a word.
Well, strategy indeed, but Jacques Lazier we saw there working feverishly on his car. Certainly they're in big trouble, aren't they, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, we're still unsure of what the problem is, but when the engine cover comes off a car, you know you're in trouble.
Now, Rick Gallagher has done a great job. Al Unser Jr. is doing a great job here. They're looking as if they could definitely take this, and considering the qualifying position, things have really looked up since they qualified.
Absolutely. I think the other interesting thing is you can see how subtle they have to be on the track when it comes to pit stops and strategy, and you can lead the other guys on. And Gallagher is very open, surprisingly so, about that. And I think that could really affect the race.
Well, I can see they've come back under green, so it's time for us to cross back to the track and our commentary boys.
Sam Hornish right behind him this time, though, as he gave away nothing. Both of them chasing Robbie Buell, but remember, Buell has a lighter fuel load, and look at Hornish, he's going to give it a shot.
And at the end of the backstretch, they're going to go through the corner.
Keep digging outside. Keep coming. Still there.
It all depends on who got the best run off of that corner, and it appears like they both got a good run, and they're going to go into this one side by side.
Wheel to wheel. Around turns 1 and 2, and Hornish gets him.
Oh, and he did a big wiggle right there, too, as he came off. That kid can really handle a car when it comes to those little wiggles. We've seen him do that several times.
All that allowed Robbie Buell to stretch out the advantage a little bit, pulling away by a little more than a second, but now Hornish will set his scope on the leader of the race, Robbie Buell.
It'll be interesting to see if he can reel in Robbie Buell. Remember, again, Buell has a little less fuel, so he should be a little lighter, but Hornish has been so fast all day long.
Buell last pitted, by the way, on lap 107, and we are now on lap 139.
Look at Hornish. Now that he's gotten around Al Unser Jr., he has pulled off to a few car lengths lead on him, so he may be a little bit faster than Unser is right now.
And right now, if you're keeping track of the point standings in the battle for the championship, as things stand right now, with Hornish running second and Buddy Lazier running 15th, there is a 51-point margin between Hornish and Lazier. Entering the event, there was just a 25-point margin by Sam Hornish Jr. Here's Jeff Ward and Ayrton Dare as they battle for position.
Yeah, Dare's had a good run all day long. He hasn't really been up in the top 5, but he's been running in the top 10 all day long and running pretty quick, as has Ward.
It's the battle for 9th position. Billy Boat up ahead there, passing to the inside of Sarah Fisher. Boat shown in the 8th spot.
Outside, still there, outside, still there.
Those three guys running 8th, 9th, and 10th, so all three of them contention for the position right there, except for Sarah Fisher in the blue car. Oh, look at that. Ward got a great run.
Clear behind.
And he goes to the inside of Ayrton and gets the spot. So move Jeff up into 8th. Here are the fastest laps today. Sam Hornish has the fastest of all at 165.7, and it's pretty much been Hornish and Buell and Unser on occasion down there in 9th spot, but those two have had the fastest cars today.
Yeah, Hornish has really been very, very consistent today. He's been the most consistently fast guy on the racetrack. Buell right now is the quickest guy out on the racetrack, but I think part of that is because of his lighter fuel load. And so it's going to be very difficult when he makes his pit stop if everybody else doesn't come in for him to maintain that lead.
Down to Vince Welsh with Salazar.
Aliseo Salazar's car is behind the wall and the team continues to work on it. Aliseo, what's the problem?
There is an electronic problem, the car started to kind of misfire, by the electronic, and eventually it cut off. It was going really well, we were third, but then we started losing, and eventually just stopped.
As you can see, though, Aliseo is still in the race car, so as soon as the electronics are changed, they hope to have him back out on the track and pick up as many points as possible today.
Robbie Buell has completed 145 laps out of the 200 that make up this race. His advantage over Sam Hornish is 1.4 seconds, and he has a 3.5 second advantage on Al Unser Jr.
While the team take a break in America, let's get up to date on the US. Plenty of racing in the USA this weekend. Yesterday saw the latest round of the American Le Mans Series at the Mid-Ohio Road Course. The race featured the second win in 3 races for Jan Magnussen and David Brabham in the Paynos. In second place was the Audi of series leaders Tom Christensen and Dindo Capello. A superb third place was recorded by Britain's James Weaver, sharing the RNS Ford with Butch Leisinger. The second factory Audi of Frank Bieler and Emanuele Pirro finished 4th ahead of the champion Audi of Johnny Herbert and Andy Wallace. Frank Lagorce and Klaus Graf were 6th in the second Paynos. The 2 Cadillacs were 7th and 8th, and my friend Didier de Radiguez and Bruno Lambert were the 675 prototype winners and were 9th overall. The Corvette of Johnny O'Connell and Ron Fellows won the GTS category and finished 10th overall. In October, we'll bring you coverage of the Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, the final round of this series. So make sure you join us for that, and if we don't have you as guests, I'm sure you guys will be watching. Johnny Kane, Al Unser Jr. there being muscled by Sam Hornish, we saw just before the American team went off to a break. Really, there looked, from that particular manoeuvre, there is no holding that young fella.
No, I mean, he's obviously driving very hard, but Al Unser didn't give in to him at all. He made him work very hard for it, and Al's gone very well, made no changes. Hornish has made a few changes to his car already, and maybe he's just got it right now.
Well, it's obviously working. We'll have a bit more from Russell Bulgin in just a moment, but let's go back now because Jack Arute is in pit lane.
The last stop of the day, and Vince Welch, all the other leaders are still going to have to come in and top off.
Sam Hornish Jr. among them. Hornish can come in anytime between now and lap 190, so he's got some room to play with here. Now, Hornish obviously in the lead of the championship standings, and with Buddy Lazier's problems today, that lead is just going to grow. But team manager Kevin Blanche said, even with Lazier having his troubles, we don't want to settle for second. We want the victory. So Sam Hornish Jr. will continue to try to reel in Robbie Buell.
That's the best way to separate yourself in points, because there's a 10-point difference between first and second position, and if you lead the most laps, you get a 2-point bonus. At this point, Al Unser Jr. has led the most laps, 65, 5 in all have led. Hornish has led 59. Robbie Buell has been in front for 18, Dismore for 8, and Ayrton Dare led a lap. Eddie Cheever Jr. is in 6th position, about 13.5 seconds behind Robbie.
This whole thing of pitting out of sequence for Robbie Buell could play out very, very well for him, as Jack Arute was saying. If he only has to make one more stop and everyone else has to come in and at least have a splash and go, this could play right into his hands.
And there goes Cheever to the inside of Scott Sharp and taking over the 5th spot. Let's check on the stories that we talked about before the race started. The championship battle really has benefited at this point Sam Hornish, because Lazier has had problems from the very beginning. The new faces, well, Baron, Miniga, and Lazaro are all out of competition, and Jacques Lazier is also having some problems. He's in 15th position. Here's Jack with Jacques.
Well, Jacques Lazier had hoped to make at least a top 5 finish in his first debut in the Menards car. Electronic problems inside the engine has knocked you out, Jacques.
You know, it seems like everything got a little bit hot, and when it did, we think something might have melted, but
what about the drive in a Menard car compared to some of the other cars you've been in?
I'll tell you what, you know, they definitely know we're here, don't they? I'll tell you what, this crew is unbelievably professional, and you know, I mean, the crew gets all the credit. I mean, that car was so easy to drive; it was awesome, and you know, I just can't say enough for the Johns Manville Team Menard car. We're going to be a threat to be reckoned with.
Threat to be reckoned with. Chicago and Texas are still on the schedule.
Next Sunday at the new Chicagoland Speedway will be on ABC for that next to the last race of the 2001 season. Of course, the finale, as Jack said, will be at Texas Motor Speedway, where the IRL always puts on an incredible show, and Hornish is really closing in on Buell.
Well, he certainly is. Buell caught up in this lap traffic and kind of got out of the throttle a little bit, and Hornish just really reeled him in. And he's going to have to really get his act together because Hornish is very fast at this point.
Fellas, let's not forget what transpired at Kentucky Motor Speedway in a similar scenario when the Drive and Reinbold crew came onto pit road for what they hoped would be their final stop. And in their emotion to try and get Robbie Buell back out, they toppled the fuel tank. So you know Johnny O'Gara and the team are thinking about that as they prepare for lap 150 plus. They can come into the pits at any time now.
Robbie McGee being put 3 laps down in that car sponsored by the St. Louis Cardinals and Atlas Van Lines. He is running in the 11th spot.
Well, Robbie Buell did a great job right there, and he's going to gain some position on Hornish through that traffic because he did a nice job with those 2 cars as he went around them. He just re-upped with Purex and Dial Soap for next year, so they're very happy that they've got that whole package put together for next year.
And Buddy Lazier makes a pit stop as the Tybo Coors Light car gets some service.
See, they're not nearly as urgently on that doing the pit stop as normally they would be because they realize they don't have a lot to gain by gaining 1 or 2 seconds in there.
I can hardly imagine how frustrating that's got to be for him to be out there in that slow car. It's just got to be killing him.
Absolutely, he's devastated. I mean, I can imagine the conversation on the radio was less than pleasant when that problem came about.
Robbie Buell is looking for his 3rd win in the Indy Racing League. He won at New Hampshire in '97 and at Orlando last year. Sarah Fisher goes another lap down. She's in 12th spot.
Robbie Buell.
Walker's telling me she's going to let you go. Clear.
That's how important the spotters are. The spotters are talking up there, and Walker's telling him that Sarah's going to let you go. So he knows he can make that pass without a problem going into that next corner.
Last time got his attention.
Robbie and wife Becky recently had their first child, Quinn. And so
yeah,
8 more laps, we understand, and Robbie Buell will be in. Check the fastest speeds on the racetrack. Jeff Ward was 2nd quick that last time around, with Allenser Jr. 3rd. Buell had the fastest.
It was kind of funny before the race started. Over the radio for Robbie Buell, they kind of did a disclaimer saying, you know, we're trying to keep this thing professional, but under the excitement of motorsports, you listen to our scanner at your own risk. So I thought that was rather humorous. But boy, you know, when you get excited, sometimes you say some things you probably shouldn't.
Coming up, lap 163 and Robbie Buell's pit stop. There are the top 10. Back in a moment.
Leicester have dominated the Premiership. But now it's time for the established order to be challenged.
That is incredible!
It's time for others to make a stand.
He's clean through!
It's time to rise up and break Leicester's stranglehold. The problem is the Tigers are hungry for more. The new season, Ford Rugby Union, Newcastle v Leicester, Sunday 1:30 live, Sky Sports 2.
Are you looking for a loan but don't know which way to turn? Perhaps you want to consolidate your existing debts. You may have a low credit rating because of previous credit problems, or your employment status. You may wish to borrow a considerable amount of money and repay over a period of time to suit you. One call and the loan company will point you in the right direction. All the loan company asks is that you're a homeowner looking to borrow between £3,000 and £50,000. And please remember that all circumstances will be considered. There are no interviews, no arrangement fees, and no salesperson will call. So, for that any-purpose homeowner loan, call the loan company now on 0800 328 3280. That's 0800 328 3280.
Mum, you know I told you British Gas are cutting up to £200 off new central heating?
Yes, Jake.
Did you tell anyone?
Well...
Oh, Mum!
Hurry, and you too could save up to £200 on central heating in the British Gas summer sale. There are loads of ways to pay. Just call 0800 754 754 today.
Mum, is there anyone you didn't tell?
More than a tyre, it's a team committed to high performance for the drivers, for you, every day.
I literally woke up one morning and said, hey, where's my joy?
Through the Haagen-Dazs Sensual Eating program, you can find that joy.
At first I felt ridiculous, but enjoying pleasure is a life skill. Pleasure is the path to joy. The fridge opened, but it was me who filled up with light.
He found his joy. You can too.
At the bottom of the tub, I found my smile. Pleasure is the path to joy.
I'm a bit of a talker, me. A bit lippy, some might say. But if I had to talk a 15-year-old schoolgirl into shopping her drug dealer boyfriend who's been selling her and her mates crack cocaine, and she's terrified of what he might do to her. I don't think I could. I couldn't find the right words.
Time it took you to make a cup of tea, 3.2 minutes. Time it took them to steal your cum, 60 seconds.
How many cars? 50. How many days? 3. We do this, we do it my way. Stop! Okay, let's ride.
I was a sucker for a redhead.
Little trick I learned in a car thief retirement home.
Gone in 60 seconds. Now showing on Sky Box Office.
Let's watch this pit stop.
In 3,
Jack reminded us of the problem the team had a couple of weeks ago in Kentucky.
Reset your fuel.
Now, the man you want to watch is Johnny O'Gara on the right front tire. He will make the signal when to pull out. They have dropped a much more flawless pit stop than the last time through.
Yes.
1.2 seconds. They are like that.
Green race average 161.5 miles an hour. We've had 7 lead changes among the 5 drivers and 3 cautions. Chris Meninga hit the wall up in turn number 2, did not suffer any injury, and the other 2 have been for debris on the racetrack. And here are the drivers who are out of the race, the 3 newcomers to the series making their IRL debut here this afternoon. Lazaro, Meninga, and Barron are all out of competition. Buzz Calkins does not extend his streak of running at the finish of the last 12 events. Now we have a battle for third position. Cheever and Dismore were on board with Eddie.
Well, Cheever's been slowly kind of closing in on Mark Dismore. Dismore might be one of those guys that turn the fuel wick down, hoping that maybe he can make it. Or if they come up with a short yellow, only 3 or 4 laps, he may stay out and while everybody else goes in and hope that he can hold them off for 2 or 3 laps.
Larry, that's exactly what's happening with Mark Dismore and his Delphi Kelly team. They were actually trying to do as much fuel metering as possible, and they told Dismore on the radio, we got to find you 1 gallon of methanol.
Boy, 1 gallon is not much until you need it this badly, let me tell you.
Exactly.
These guys are all going to have to pit between lap 185 and 190 probably, so they're going to get there pretty quickly. They've got about another 10 or 15 laps that they can go, but unless a yellow comes out, every one of these guys, I think, is going to have to make a pit stop. 67 laps is just too many to go.
It's been a good race for Mark Dismore. He started, remember, back in 19th position since they lined up according to the points, and he is currently running in the 3rd spot. All right, well, we will take a break here and get set for the closing laps, including the important pit stops that should be made before too long.
Sam Hornish Jr. carries on then with a great run at the front. Al Unser in second place, Mark Dismore, Eddie Cheever, Donnie Beechler, and Robbie Buell is still making a charge. And I tell you what, for my money, he is a guy who deserves to win this race after being robbed last time out in Kentucky. He should have won that, but a bad call by his crew chief in pit lane really did make a mess of it, Russell.
Yeah, it did. The other interesting thing, of course, is that he's Infinity powered like Eddie Cheever. And you know, that engine just gets stronger and stronger, and they're doing a really good job with it.
So, Sam Hornish from Al Unser. Now, we've seen Al Unser come up against Sam Hornish Jr. Johnny, is this... No, I can't think. I was going to ask a question then, and it would seem really quite silly. But Al Unser Jr. had his chance, and there's quite a big gap between the race leader, and I can't see Al Unser being able to close in on him. Can you see anything that I've missed?
No, I don't think so. He looks fairly untroubled at the moment. You know, I think they struggled with setup a little bit to start with. They obviously had a good car for qualifying. You know, the weather's probably slightly different today. Just needed a few small adjustments, and the car looks really good now.
Mark Dismore is getting a good run towards the closing stages of this as well. Mark Dismore is up into 3rd place at the moment, and I'm having a job to find out exactly where he ended up qualifying in 19th position. So Dismore has had a good run in the closing stages of this 250-miler, Russell.
He's had a very good run. It's ironic too in a week that he's lost his drive for next year because the Kelly team haven't raised enough sponsorship to run 2 cars and have elected to stay with Scott Sharp. But he's had a good race, which of course is the thing he's been lacking all year.
Well, you know, they have an equivalent of that here in the UK. They hang a P45 out on your board. So if he doesn't get a move on, you get sacked. Let's go back to the track then as we come to the closing stages of the 200-lap race. Here it is, the Gateway 250, and our commentators are live and at trackside.
His crew has been working hard on the computer, trying to run as many different scenarios as possible. During the last sequence of stops, Al Unser Jr. was able to get 66 laps on a tank of fuel. So Rick Gallis and company now need 67 laps. So much like Mark Dismore, they are in fuel conservation mode yet again, looking for less than a gallon of fuel. And if they can find it, it could be the key to victory lane.
However, within those 66 laps that Little Al ran on a tank of fuel, 6 were under the caution flag. Well, we're going to take another quick break here to be back for the final laps. 182 are complete at Gateway.
So as we lose our American commentators just for another break over there, Sam Hornish, we've spoken plenty about him. Let's have a look now at Eddie Cheever in the Infinity motor. You were just touching on it just a moment ago, Russell. That Infinity motor has got better and better this year. It's only a 1.25 mile track, but it seems to be suiting him as the closing stages come into vision.
It is. The Infinity's got a much tighter power band than the Oldsmobile engine, so he has to keep it revving a lot more. He's won 1 race this year. I think he's only had 3 top 10 finishes, so reliability has been suspect. But they've got Bernard Dudo, who used to be the head of Renault Sports engine development in Formula 1. He's now working on the Infinity engine program, because Infinity is a sub-brand of Nissan, which is owned by Renault. And I just think changes have been made, and I think it's looking really good.
Well, Johnny, to broaden that a little bit, Johnny, you spoke about this track. You need to get out of it. I think Russell alluded to the fact there's 35 miles an hour difference in a lap here from top speed to the medium speed that you need around this track. Yeah. Broad power is everything you want. Has this Infinity got it for today, do you think?
Well, they can obviously change ratios and try and work it that way. Obviously, the bigger the power band, the less you have to change gear. The
been a lot of people on the limiter here, though, isn't there?
Yeah, and not just once on the straight. You know, they'll hit the limiter, it'll ease off, and then bounce into it again a second time, which really is a little bit too long, I think.
Well, indeed. Sam Hornish then still leads from Al Unser Jr. and Eddie Cheever. I'm just checking my notes here. Donnie Beechler was there in 4th place at the moment. And we can go back to the truck now and see exactly what's going on for the Indy 250 at St. Louis. In fact, we can't, so we're going to stay here for just a moment. Let's have some bets on this now. Not Sam Hornish to win, because I think that's taken the easy. Who's going to be second for you, Johnny? Strategy is one thing. We've seen that most of them are pitted for good now. That's it. It's a straight race out there. But the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and a little bit further back, 4th, 5th, and 6th is actually quite.
I think Cheever's definitely in with a good shout today. He's been sort of quiet and not really seen much of him, but he's been moving up all day, and he's an experienced campaigner, so he knows what he's about.
Okay, Cheever's the second, Russell.
I was going to say exactly.
Oh, excuse me. We've got a car and we've got a yellow for sure. So that's Donnie Beechler. Donnie Beechler, who I've just been talking about. Donnie Beechler is in the wall. So we are on our, I think, 4th caution of this race meeting. Donnie Beechler, he's moving in the cab fairly well, but he looks like he's taken a fair clout. Let's cross then to the American team, because they'll be picking it up, and that looks like the gearbox that's sitting in the middle of the track there. They won't be bolting that one on back in a hurry, will they? So Donnie Beechler has completely wrecked his gears. He doesn't need them anymore. Let's go back to the track and hear what they've got to say live.
There it is. Ooh, he had hard contact with the wall.
Yeah, he just really backed that thing. Look at the gearbox. It went clear up into the fence and then bounced down the racetrack. But that's one of the things that gearbox is designed to do.
Exactly.
They used to be too stiff, and when you took a hit like that, it generated all the energy into the driver. Now then, that gearbox absorbs some of that energy. You don't usually see it break off like that, but it does usually break and absorb some of that energy.
Beechler is okay. He's out of the car and talking with his workers, and you can see the incident occurred just ahead of Sam Hornish. He was passing underneath Donnie when all this debris was flying around on the racetrack.
Bob, that's not the only break he caught. Obviously, he caught the break too of the timing of the yellow, because his crew was getting ready to go over the wall to get set for a pit stop, which would have had to come under green. So you got to be lucky as well as good sometimes to win a race, and Sam Hornish has certainly gotten a couple of breaks.
On the ground, will not jack you up, but I'm still going to point at you when you're close, and it's not going to take very long at all, so be ready.
That's the voice of Kevin Blanche, the team manager, and what he's telling Sam is they're not going to change the tires, they're just going to give him fuel. Jackaroo?
Well, as we await Sam Hornish, Al Unser Jr. and Rick Gallis have been involved in an animated conversation. Rick Gallis had to calm his driver down because Al thought this was a bad situation to find himself in. They hadn't bothered to tell Al that they needed an extra gallon of fuel. Once they broke that news to him, little Al was a little more understanding. They feel now they can go the distance without a stop.
It's going to be a huge break for Al Unser Jr. and Mark Dismore. Both those guys have been kind of running on the fuel conservation mode. They may not come in, and they're just going to hope that they can run those last 10 laps and hold off charging Sam Hornish.
Well, guys, the other thing to remember is that while that transmission flew off the back of Donnie Beechler's car, that would also indicate that all the fluids that were contained therein are now all over the track, and we're going to have to put down some speedy dry. You know, this yellow could take 5 or 6, 7 laps. I mean, it's just going to be a quick sprint at the end.
And there are only 10 laps to go as Hornish finds his pit box, and this is the quick splash and go. Just 4.5 seconds in the box for Sam Hornish Jr., and away he goes.
They'd also, excuse me, Bob, but Hornish had also had a concern earlier, just about 10 laps ago. His oil pressure light came on, and it sent the Pennzoil Panther crew scrambling to the telemetry screens, but they all believe that everything is okay as far as the oil pressure is concerned, and now that they've got enough fuel to go to the end, it seems that Sam Hornish may be in control here.
But you know what, Vince? One of the situations that occurred, that oil pressure problem was not proprietary information. no sooner did that develop than Rick Gallis radioed that information to Al Unser Jr., so he's aware of it too.
All right, they clean up the Donnie Beechler crash over in turn number 2. We'll take a break. Stay with us for the exciting conclusion in a moment.
Well, it just gets better and better as far as I'm concerned. This race now, we are really in for something spectacular. Hornish still leads, Unser's right in there as well, but Sam's had to come down into pit lane to pick up a bit more juice. Good move or a necessary move, Johnny?
I think it must have been necessary. You know, if he could have made, you know, the yellow work to his advantage and not have to pit, then that's what he would have done. And I think it's fallen into Unser's lap now, really. He was struggling on fuel, and now he looks like he can go the whole way.
That extract gearbox that was hanging on the back of has destroyed itself against the wall. Now, if I remember rightly, didn't we have quite a lot of trouble in IRL when the gearbox was bolted so hard on the back of the car, was so solid on the back of the car a number of years ago? It caused quite a lot of injuries when the cars ended up reversing into the concrete wall, Russell.
Absolutely. They also put what they called an attenuator, which was just a sort of chunk of deformable structure on the back of the gearbox to absorb the energy, because they were worried about drivers going backwards into the wall and getting spinal or neck injuries. Despite what they said on the commentary, I don't think that the gearbox is intended to fly off like that in a big impact, complete with the input shaft still on it, because to be serious for a moment, you wouldn't want to run over it if you're a car following.
Well, it nearly landed on his head.
Yeah,
it hit the wall, and the driver nearly ended up, poor old Donnie Beechler, nearly got bashed by a bit of X-Track landing from a great height. Look at it flying up the fence there, and it only just bounces across the back of the car. And they weigh quite a bit, those gearboxes. So it is Donnie Beechler out of the race, sadly for us, as far as that was concerned. Just when he was making great progress, he was up to something like 4th place, if my memory serves me rightly, and my sheets are never in perfect order. So we are on, I think, our 5th caution of the day. There is Sam Hornish. He's been in, and we are still under yellow, but soon to go green. As soon as they've cleaned up the track, there's a little bit of fluid down on the track. Might take a little longer than normal. Now then, we have got a dash to the flag. As soon as this becomes green, we are in for a complete dash for the flag. Watch the pace car in front. That will move in. He's waved the cars by. He's going in, so we're about to come under green. Let's rejoin our commentators for the sprint to the flag.
Sam Hornish, by the way, is back there in the middle of the field. He's got a lot of cars to pass. That's not to say that he can't, but it is to say that he has a lot of work ahead of him. Eddie Cheever is also back there in the same situation. Cheever also came in for a splash and go during this caution period.
Mark Dismore is only 1 car in front of Hornish. There is 1 lap car between them, so he has a chance to catch him and get around him. But Dismore has been very fast all day. He could hold him off, and if he could last, he could win this race too.
Now Sam Hornish has picked up the 2 bonus points for leading the most laps, and that's very crucial as we get down to the end of the season and the battle for the championship. Here we go for the last 6 laps of the race.
Look at Sam, he got...
Oh, they're 4 wide down the straightaway.
As much as you can, as much as you can.
That was Cheever that got down. Boy, he had to grab a real low gear. He's going to have to shift twice down this straightaway.
Passing by Buddy Lazier.
See, there he did have to shift twice.
Yep.
He went down clear on in the 4th, the 3rd.
Al Unser hits the line, and now there are 5 laps to go.
And look at that. Eddie Cheever is in 4th position, right, and he's right behind Hornish on the track, who's running in 3rd right now. This is shaping up to be a battle for 3rd place.
Yeah, Hornish is
and there's
really...
Mark Dismore right in front of Hornish. You got 2, 3, 4 right there.
I think that's Scott Sharp right in front of him.
No, it's Dismore. There he is.
It is. Yes, it is. You're right.
Nope, you're right. It is Scott Sharp.
Scott Sharp.
The yellow wing is the way you tell the difference. Scott has the yellow wing, Dismore has the black wing.
My bad,
It was 2 against 1. You had me convinced I was wrong.
We followed you right under the bus, Jason.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
But look at this. These guys are not really gaining all that much on either one, Al Unser or Dismore. So it's now going to boil down to which one of those 2 can last to the end.
Hornish makes a pass. Here comes Cheever to get by Sharp.
High.
All right. less than 3 laps to go, 2.5 laps to go as a matter of fact. Al Unser Jr. maintains the 1 second advantage on Mark Dismore. Again, Al Unser Jr. has only won 1 race in his IRL career. That came last year at Las Vegas.
Yeah, he and Dismore both have pulled away from Sam Hornish, but now Hornish has a clear track, so you can bet he's going to do everything that he can in these last 2 laps to catch those guys.
Robbie Buell running second there in line is a lap down in 5th spot. And Billy Boat is back there too. He's in 6th position, so Buell and Boat are on the same lap. And here is Unser coming down for the completion of lap 199. 1 lap to go. The crowd is on its feet, and they would love to see this Indy veteran take home the trophy here at Gateway. Let's see if he can. If he's got the fuel to last for 1/2 a lap.
Yeah, if he doesn't run out of fuel, I think Little Al's got this in the bag.
Looking good at the end of the backstretch. Moving through the final corners. Al Unser Jr. looks at the checkered flag and wins at Gateway International Raceway.
All right, baby, you did it, Dan. You did it. Congratulations, guys. That was awesome. I don't know if you're going to make it any farther, but we got you there, Bart. Unbelievable. Well done, Junior. Absolutely fantastic.
Little Al started 8th and wins the race, Vince.
Rick Gallis, congratulations as he's taking his celebratory hugs as well. Wow, how close can it be? That makes it more exciting.
Well, I'll tell you, we were low on fuel, so, you know, it was supposed to happen today. He did a great job, and that's good, you know.
Did you have any indication when the day started that you had a car this good?
Yeah, we tested here, and we knew we had a good car, and so I'm just really proud of my guys. They did a great job in the pits, and just worked out for us. Our fuel mileage was good, and Franz Weiss did a great job on our motors, and you know, I'm happy for Stars and everybody. It was fun. This is good.
You got some help with that yellow at the right time too.
Yeah,
did you consider bringing him in at all?
No, we weren't going to bring him in, man. I was either gonna sit here and celebrate or go hide in the motorhome.
Well, you're going to celebrate. Congratulations, Rick.
Al Unser Jr. wins by 1.1 seconds over Mark Dismore in a great run for Diz. Hornish finished 3rd, Cheever 4th. Those 4 cars on the lead lap at the end of 250 miles. Buell, Boat, Ward, Sharp, Dare, and McGee complete the top 10.
Well, you got to give both of those teams credit. They ran good all day long, both Unser and Dismore, and there at the end they both made crucial judgments on what to do about that last pit stop, and it ended up in 1st and 2nd positions for both of them.
So Al Unser Jr. pulling into victory lane for the 2nd time in his IRL career.
Well, that team has taken a lot of criticism over the year. I mean, you know, they haven't always qualified all that well, and sometimes they haven't run that well. So I'm sure for them, this has got to be very, very satisfying. And they've been fast. Remember, clear back in Miami, they had a chance to win the race, and just things didn't work out. So it's very, I think a lot of the criticism they've received has not been justified, and this just goes to prove it.
Well, Al Unser Jr. taking off all the safety paraphernalia. As you said, a winner in Las Vegas in his 1st year at IRL competition, and now a winner in his 2nd year. Al, congratulations. A fuel economy run is still a win.
That's right. You know, I got to thank my whole team. You know, they're the ones that put me up front. You know, the whole Gallup race team, the Star Super Pack car ran super, and, you know, the Firestone tires hung in there great. We had some good fortunes, and I just want to say this one's for little Joe.
Let me ask you one thing. I know you're pretty emotional right now, but your crew did not tell you that they were in a fuel conservation mode. I heard you on the radio when they said, well, we planned on this caution, Al.
Yeah, well, yeah, if they had planned on the caution, then they should have ran me a little richer, I thought. But then I saw Sam pulling in the pits, and I saw how much I had left on my fuel there at the end, and so Rick definitely made the right decision, and that's why he's the strategist in the pits, and I'm the driver.
Bob, sometimes you've got to be a product compressor.
Two-time kart championship winner, Indy 500 winner, a little bit inconsistent occasionally, we touched on that earlier on in the show, but absolutely no doubt about it today, Alonso Jr. He battled it out with Sam Hornish, his team had the right strategy, the car was dead good on the track. Russell, he couldn't be beaten in the end.
He couldn't, no. In the mid part of the race the car was the quickest. Be interesting to see if they can sustain it for the rest of the year though.
You have to say, Johnny, that Sam Hornish Jr. at one point looked like he got it covered, but what we didn't know was that they were struggling very slightly for fuel.
No, and you know, sometimes the yellow works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. Just Al was on it all day today and deserved to win.
I don't know about you two guys, but I've worked up a sweat with this one today. It's been a very frantic race, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good to watch.
Can't wait to the next one. Well, that's all we've time for from St Louis tonight, but next Sunday we've a fantastic double header of sports car and single-seater racing here on Sky Sports. We start off with the final round of the European Le Mans Series from Vallelunga near Rome, and that's at 12 noon on Sky Sports 3. Then in the evening we're back on the Indy Racing Northern Lights Series trail for the penultimate round of the championship, the Delphi Indy 300. Yes, there's just 2 races left in the series. We'll be live and exclusive from Chicago for the next one, and that's on Sky Sports Extra at 9 p.m. And don't forget to catch up with the repeats too. I hope you can join us for both of those races next week, but for now I'd like to thank my guests Johnny Kane and Russell Bolgin, and we'll leave you with some images from today's Gateway Indy 250. Good night.